Oh, God, I'm not stable. Right, okay, I'm kind of resting on about 8 things right now. So I wanted to touch on a little bit about, I was basically talking yesterday on stage presence, it was a really quick, well it wasn't quick, it was like 7 minutes, but it was quick explanation. Like if you were at a workshop, you would go through the whole experience, the whole ba-bam. I'm not saying you come out like Tina Turner, but you feel like her. I basically touched on that I had to look at myself quite brutally, and I said that you have to look at yourself to the core, and it wasn't quite nice, but it was necessary. I just want to let me explain what I meant, because there's more to it. Me just saying I looked at myself to the core, it's like, how did you do it, though, Emma? But how did you do it? And I'm like, bitch, are you ready? As you know, I'm really into Vex King, but it's really weird because, you know, when things happen, like I did a really honest video yesterday, and I just thought, just going to be me, because like I'm putting my whole heart and soul into Fierce Arts, because I believe that that's my purpose, and I found my why through hardship, which was to lift other people up and help them find their true voice, whatever that may be, and be content in who you are and be able to just bring your light to a room, whether that's a stage, whether it's just taking a Monday morning meeting, or you've been promoted and you don't know how to handle meetings. So I wanted to talk about really pinpointing your emotion in that situation and in that moment. Like, so I'm going to do like 2 examples. I'll do one example is a relationship, another example is like your career or your graft, your lifestyle. So there'll be 2 examples at the end. So understanding how it's done, like how do you look at yourself to the core? What does it mean to be brutal with yourself? It's internally impossible to just go, which honestly about 8% of the population do this, we've all done it. We just go, I'm going to be happy now. I'm just going to tell myself I'm happy and then I'll be happy. And that's just lies, like it's lies. Because if you just tell yourself you're happy, you're basically like putting a plaster over the issue, which a lot of people know already, like just trying to forget about it and ignore it and move on. But really, and this is about, obviously I'd read Vex King, and this is how it comes into it, because I'd just done that video because it was something I'm asked about, and then I was reading like a different chapter of his book that I go on and on about, because it's the Bible, and it said, it's like one of those moments where you're like, I was meant to do that, because now I've read this thing and it's kind of in relation to what I was talking about before. Maybe I should go back and explain that, do you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm just going to read it out, because again, it was from this book. So Vex King said, ignoring negative emotions is like keeping poison in your system. Learn to understand everything that you feel. Learn to understand everything that you feel. The aim isn't to force positive thoughts, but to transform the negative ones into something healthier so you can feel better. So the reason I'm reading that is just because it kind of like spoke to me, and I thought that's exactly what I've had to do. Like sometimes you do things and you don't realise the process that's behind it, because you've been so upset or so unhappy in your life, and you just feel stuck, and you're just like, oh, I'm never going to get there with anything. What do I mean when I talk about this internal process? What do I mean when I say be brutal with yourself, but it isn't nice? Do you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? So I was just going to give like 2 examples, because most people, like, as you know, like your friends, say it's your friends, right, and it's completely unrelated to performing or standing up and speaking or presentations, anything to do with you as a solo, all eyes on you. Say it's just to do with your life. So say it's a relationship, and you're just like, you're texting someone, or you're been seeing them for a wee while, and it kind of dries up, and you're like, oh, this always happens to me, and nothing ever changes, it's because I'm not good enough, blah blah blah. It makes me feel unwanted, unattractive, not worthy of love or attention, I'm not validated, blah blah blah, right? So that's what's happening in that moment, and it's just the first thing you need to do in the process of looking internally instead of looking at others to make you feel better, is to actually pinpoint what the hell is making you feel like that. See, when you actually ask yourself questions, it doesn't need to be 80 million questions. It just needs to be 3 questions or 4 questions, just really short, to the point, brutal questions. And it's a case of, right, so what is this emotion I'm feeling? This person's not texting me back. I thought we had a connection. He made me feel good for a while. It obviously dries up. you need to pinpoint what that emotion is, right? Okay, it's a feeling of loss, it's a feeling of rejection, it's a feeling of sadness. Okay, then you know these thoughts are there and you're like, okay, then the second part is you ask yourself, right, so why do I feel like that? Like why does that bother me? Why does that affect me so badly? Because you could be smashing your job, you could be smashing your fitness or whatever journey you've taken, and you might be happy in other aspects of your life, but this part of your life, someone comes along and you drop your priorities like that. You drop everything for this person that's not even really showing you any real reason to do so. Not that you should ever drop your priorities for anyone, well, any bitch. By doing this, by asking yourself these questions, you start to reveal the thoughts that are limiting you and keeping you concentrating, like small-minded concentrating on this negative area that shouldn't really be affecting you the way it is. So when you realise these two parts, you've asked yourself these two questions, then it's just time for you to be brutally honest with yourself. You need to be like, listen, I was not raised this way. No, you don't need to do that, but this is what happens in my head. Like, why are you letting something so trivial rock your world? Like, why is that? So see, when you start asking yourself why, you start to find out what's actually at the bottom of this issue, this emotion. And then what you try to do, what the whole goal is of this whole exercise, is that you then replace this disempowering thought process into something empowering and something positive and something, no, but authentically positive, because you went through the process and you understand. So we were seeing each other, felt a connection. I finally felt like I was worthy of love. Right, so that's why. So now that that's been taken away from you, really you've got a fear of rejection, a fear of loss, that you have a real need for like social acceptance, and that you're at this present moment, you're not at a place where you can validate yourself. And then that's that whole journey, and then you go, okay, so I'm at this stage, I don't want to be there, I want to be able to validate myself. And that's exactly where I was. I was going to do an example, not just of relationship. For me, it was to do with my career. I mean, I've been there in a relationship before, like I know, and that is for another day. The other example I was going to talk about was, you could use it, this exercise in relation to your lifestyle or your career or your craft. So say like you're really unhappy and you're like, I came out my masters and I felt broken, had absolutely no idea, no guidance to where I even like fitted in the world. Do you know what I mean? Not to sound really deep, but that's where it got to, because I thought, wow, I really worked my way up from nothing to get to a top school to just feel a kind of broken that I never thought I'd feel before. And I went into a job that I ended up really, it wasn't good for my mental health. Like I didn't feel great, like, and most people do feel like that. They just feel like they don't fit anywhere, they don't belong, and like they're not good enough and they're never going to make it. Like make it to me is be stable and financially stable. Everyone wants that, but like mentally awake and fulfilled. That to me is like making it. Now it is anyway. Before it was, singing with Whitney. But anyway, so I was like that, right, Emma, what is it that you actually want to do? And I just thought, no, I actually need to change my life. And then that's when I did the exercise, but it wasn't like so specific like that. I just said, I was obviously really unhappy and I just was like crying all the time and like feeling in such a dark place. I genuinely was like, I'm never ever going to get out of this. Like I've just kidded myself on that I was going to actually make it in the world. I was going to actually make a difference, and that how stupid was I? Like I'm nobody. And then I've never, like, a lot of people that meet me, I think, always assume that, like if they see me on stage or they've seen me perform or they've seen something, I don't know, like people assume that, I'm really confident, and I'm actually quite shy and like not sure in myself as a person, like my personal life. And I'm really good at putting a front on, so everyone thinks, like, I'll always try to look after everyone else, and I had to stop that because people just latch onto you and drain the hell out of you, and that's not fair. You need to end up putting yourself first, because you end up like me with no voice. So no, I made a lot of changes late last year. I left that job. I gave myself like 2 months it was 2 months notice, and I gave myself time to be like, where are you going with this? So I initially had started up Slay Fierce Beauty, because I've always had a thing for makeup, and I've always loved hair, because I'm mixed race, and I always was interested in weaves and wigs and like just switching it up and how to do my hair. So I decided to change my life. I had absolutely no, I still don't have much idea, but I've basically created something that was never created before, and no one's telling me how to do it. So every day is a journey, every day is a lesson, every day is a blessing. So I basically had started this, like, I was like, I'm going to just run with this beauty kind of hair and makeup lash kind of business, see how that goes. And then I had worked on Fierce Arts for 5 years, really, because I'd been doing Motown nights, running nights, created a band, several bands, but one main band, it was like a Motown funk band, and I loved them dearly. They were like brothers, and it was amazing to work with musicians that can jam and just like feel that era of music that I so connect to, so I loved them. And then Sister Act, and then I went to London Audition for Dreamgirls, and then I obviously went into RCS and Royal Conservatoire of Scotland to do the masters. And like I was actually howling at myself, because I was like, bitch, you ain't getting, I didn't think I was getting in, because like I didn't even know what a monologue was. I hadn't acted apart from Sister Act, or from the time that I was in 5th year and done The Crucible, which was actually hilarious. I pretty much smashed that, but but then I had this, like, what you find is when you get so unhappy and you've got like an amazing idea, or like you've got something to bring to the world to make it a wee bit better, it guilt trips you. It's like a person being like, what about me? That's what it's like. And I was just like trying to ignore it. Like I was like, Emma, you've nothing to bring to the performance world. You're not going to blah blah blah. It's just bad negative thoughts, like really limiting beliefs towards myself from myself, which is terrifying that we speak to ourselves like that and we listen. I still had some students at the time that I was teaching one-to-ones, and I was like, right, what's your purpose here? Why are you even on this earth? And then it came to the point I was like, oh, I'd really loved this when I was younger, and I started writing down who I wanted when I was younger to coach me. It is enough to just be you. That's what makes us all unique. If you just be yourself and you just accept it. And anyway, so Fierce was just in my mind, like right, okay, so I started working on it, and it was just the right time, and I ended up getting people investing in it, like not investing in it that way. I just mean like believing in it, and like I met this amazing woman, Leanne, from Tell Design and Print. If anybody needs anything to do with marketing, please go there, because they are the shit. And they like hold your hand in such a like honest way, and she just totally believes. She believes in my message. She believes in the values behind this movement, because it's a movement. It's not just a business, it's a movement. I want to change the game. I want to create a space for people like me, like people that didn't come from training, like from an early age, just people that come with raw talent and have hunger, and they can build on their craft, and in a healthy, safe environment, mentally, physically and emotionally, and learn the fundamentals to make a living in the industry as a whole. Like, be guided in a way that you can't not find work, because you understand it comes from you, and what it means to be a grafter and work hard for your dreams. You don't just have an idea and go, oh well, that's it happened, or I'm going to be happy, so you're happy. Like, you need to work hard and graft for what you want. Like, you need to own it, and you need to earn it. Like, you need to earn it. Anyway, so yeah, so in that process I basically really identified what was the emotion that was making me feel so lost and so down and so useless and so worthless. Then I started asking myself, why do you feel like that? Why are you like this? what is it? And I started really just being brutally honest with myself.